Spring of 43 in Tito. Yugoslavs, the partisans have been spreading out a lot more. Another attempt into Dalmatia. Because of the Italian pullback, they're all over Croatia. They made an attack and destroyed a bunch of Croatian units that couldn't retreat into the mountains. Also in Bosnia, they're developing their strengths. But there's one big... Oh, and they had a tiny little revolt in Albania because of the under-garrison situation there. But they still haven't reached divisional strength. They have to get that one last unit before they can start building divisional. And they just didn't get enough recruitment to do it. And that's kind of a shame because I was counting on that this turn. If I had stayed all in the mountains, I could have. But because it's winter, mountain recruitment is so crappy, I went for victory points. Victory points are now at 89, which is healthy. Summer of 43 and Tito's made the jump to divisional strength. He's still not identified, which means the Axis can't try to assassinate him. Currently our points are in the 125 range. A little weaker than I had hoped, but getting some powerful positioning here. So for example, Dalmatia, all these victory point areas, they're going to be seized because the Italians attempted to attack them in the mountains. Pushed them out of the mountains, big deal. Now there's valuable territory to be had. Which is one of the problems largely in the game. It's really hard to actually undertake an operation without taking more risk on than than the potential gain. One key example of where that's not the case, though, was where the partisans went and grabbed Zagreb. That's a big 6-point city, which, with large production values, and now they're just going to sit on there with a decent-sized force. Right now there's 7 divisions there. There's no way the Axis can move that. No way. And, I mean, those units are as big as the Axis units. So from there now, Tito can start really commanding a real insurrection, the level of which we haven't seen before, where he's actually got physical grounds. Likewise in Bosnia, we're seeing a lot of areas falling to the partisans. One problem is the Chetniks. Allied support withdrawals in place, and right now there's still one Axis Chetnik, which means that the partisan player is losing 5 victory points a turn. Now, if that guy is gone, it'll be 15 points a turn. That's not a pleasant prospect. And right now, chances are very high that he'll go away. The only way he stays is by remaining an Axis unit. There's possibilities of revolts happening throughout the territory, but there's going to be a long drought of point drain due to the failure to maintain the Chetniks on their side. Fall of 1943, there was no drought, which is a serious bonus for the partisans. We're seeing Allied progress has been made to, I believe the Axis has left Africa entirely, which means Italy's about ready to fall. We're seeing a lot of spreading here. Up into Slovenia, got them in the mountains ready to start attacking there. Croatia is pretty much half and half at this point. The Italian pullback zones are the only things they can defend, really. As I noted, Dalmatia, we've got serious entry into there, even though the Italians are trying to contest it. Bosnia, we actually saw the partisans pull out of largely. Not entirely, but they filtered troops into elsewhere, basically Croatia and into Serbia, of all places, where they're planning on spreading out and grabbing some of those meaty points. They don't need so much production anymore. They've got most of their pieces on the board. We also saw a revolt in Albania, which was completely denuded of Italian troops, including some Chetniks, which might just allow them to avoid losing 15 points again next turn. Start of the winter of 44, and the Sicilian landings have happened, which meant Actually, 6 Italian divisions pulled out, but a big pile of German units came in, not quite that many. Situation isn't too far from what it was. We're seeing spreading into Istria's mountains, taking a location inside Slovenia. Croatia, Bosnia, they're about the same. Dalmatia, about the same. Movement to the islands, just because for the winter it gives a slight bonus. Over in Serbia, we're seeing some deployment, and we're seeing partisans in Montenegro, and yet another revolt over in Albania. The points were lost again for the Chetniks. Basically, the only chance that they have of not losing 15 points is on a 1, I believe. No, no matter what, they're going to lose them. The question is whether or not they gain extra partisans for them. The early withdrawal of support for the Chetnik partisans caused serious problems for point-wise. But we're up to 235, which isn't bad at all. It's really kind of a luck factor whether or not the Chetniks survive, as far as I'm concerned. I tried to do everything I could to keep them alive, but there's only so much you can do.